Welcome to this deep dive. You know that feeling, right? You have this clear intention, maybe a big goal, maybe just getting something important done today, and somehow the day just slips away. You find yourself scrolling or maybe lost in those really critical thoughts about yourselves.
That's such a common experience, that feeling that something internal almost automatically pulls you off course.
Exactly, like a quiet little saboteur working behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And that's really what we want to get into today, this whole idea of self-sabotage. We're going to explore it, drawing on some ideas from Gestalt therapy to see what might be going on underneath it all.
Right. The aim isn't to get super technical or overwhelming.
No, not at all.
It's more about offering a way to understand these patterns, maybe see them a bit more clearly in yourself, and perhaps find some, initial steps towards shifting things if you want to.
Kind of like a shortcut to understanding, maybe, and just starting the process.
Exactly, a starting point.
Okay, so let's dive in. This quiet saboteur thing, I mean, it really resonates. That classic Monday motivation.
Yeah, full of energy.
And then by Wednesday, it's just gone. Or that inner critic voice that just pipes up and cuts you down.
Or the feeling that those big dreams you have are just somehow impossible, unrealistic.
Yeah. And it feels like it's about more than just failing at some task, doesn't it? It feels really internal, really personal.
It absolutely is. It's often less about external factors and more about this internal friction, this kind of push and pull within ourselves.
So in Gestalt therapy, where do you even begin with that?
Well, a really foundational concept is awareness,
Okay.
which sounds simple, but it's really about consciously connecting with your immediate experience, what's happening right here, right now.
So like physically.
That's a great place to start. Just for a second, maybe notice how you're sitting or, the temperature of the air on your skin, any tension you're holding, or ease.
It's funny how rarely we actually do that. Just check in.
We spend so much time on autopilot, don't we? Almost disconnected from our own bodies. And this simple act of noticing, just paying attention, that can be the very first step.
Towards what? Seeing the sabotage.
Towards noticing the subtle stuff, the internal chatter, the feelings that come and go, those patterns that just run in the background without us even realizing.
Okay. Can we make that more concrete? Like an example?
Sure. Let's imagine someone, let's call her Maria. Maria really wants to start her own business. She's got the idea, she's done some planning.
Sounds good so far.
Right. But every time she actually sits down to write the business plan, suddenly her apartment desperately needs cleaning.
Ah, I know that feeling. The sudden urge to organize the sock drawer.
Exactly. Or she needs to reorganize all her computer files. Or she starts researching something totally unrelated.
So classic procrastination.
On the surface, yes. But when you look deeper, from a Gestalt perspective, you ask, what's the function of that cleaning? What is it achieving for her?
What do you mean? It's achieving a clean apartment.
Well, yes. But it's also helping her avoid sitting down with the business plan. And the question is why? Often, this kind of avoidance is protective.
Protecting her from.
Maybe from the fear of failure, that's common. But also, maybe, fear of success.
Fear of success. That sounds weird.
Does it? Think about it. Success can mean more visibility, more pressure, more responsibility. Maybe that feels overwhelming or scary for Maria, deep down.
Huh. Okay. So the cleaning is like a safety behavior.
In a way, yes. It's a form of self-preservation, even if it's ultimately stopping her from getting what she consciously wants.
That really makes you think about your own avoidance tactics, doesn't it? Maybe it's not cleaning. Maybe it's instantly grabbing your phone when things get quiet.
Or suddenly feeling exhausted.
Yeah, or getting really invested in helping someone else solve their problems instead of focusing on your own.
The specific behavior varies, but the underlying dynamic is often quite similar. It's a way we subtly, or sometimes not so subtly, get in our own way.
And we can be pretty creative about it, huh?
Oh, absolutely. We develop all sorts of strategies. Perfectionism is a classic one, setting the bar so high you never actually start.
Or the opposite, maybe.
Yeah.
Like playing the victim. Oh, it's too hard. I can't possibly do it.
That too. Or just mastering the art of distraction. Anything to avoid facing whatever feels difficult or uncomfortable. They become these, default moves.
And you mentioned Gestalt.
Yeah,
Does this connect to ideas about the past?
very much so. It often ties into what Gestalt calls unfinished business.
Unfinished business.
Rather,
Like old arguments.
it can be. Or unresolved feelings from past experiences, needs that weren't met back then, maybe old roles we played in our families that we're still playing out.
Even if they don't fit anymore.
Exactly. Or relationship patterns that keep repeating. It's like these things from the past are still active, still influencing how we operate right now, often unconsciously.
Like echoes.
That's a good word for it. They carry an emotional charge, and they're looking for some kind of completion. And they show up in our bodies, our choices, our relationships.
So maybe take a second. Think about the story you generally tell yourself about who you are, what you're capable of.
And where did that story come from? Whose voice is behind those beliefs? A parent? A teacher?
Is it actually serving you now? Is it still true?
Those are really powerful questions to sit with.
And there's another Gestalt idea, right? About internal voices. The top dog and underdog.
Ah, yes, the internal conflict. The top dog is that part of us that's often very critical, full of shoulds and ought tos, very demanding.
The perfectionist part, maybe.
Often, yes. And then there's the underdog.
Who that?
The part that resists, the part that says, I don't want to, I can't, I'll do it later. The part that procrastinates or sabotages the top dog's plans.
So it's like an internal argument that just leads to paralysis, feeling stuck.
Precisely. A constant battle that drains your energy and keeps you from moving forward.
Where those voices even come from?
That's key. They didn't just appear out of nowhere. They usually develop from real-life experiences, ways we learn to cope. Maybe the top dog sounds like a critical parent you tried to please. Maybe the underdog's resistance was the only way you felt you had any control as a child.
So they weren't always bad. They had a purpose once.
Exactly. They were likely adaptive at some point. The crucial question now is, are they still serving you? Or are they holding you back?
Wow. Okay. As we're talking, I imagine people listening might be feeling, well, different things. Maybe a bit defensive.
Or curious.
Or sad, even. Or angry.
And it's so important to say, whatever is coming up for you is completely okay. There's no right or wrong feeling here.
The point isn't to beat ourselves up for having these patterns.
Not at all. It's about bringing some gentle awareness, some kindness, some understanding to them.
Because this self-sabotage stuff, that doesn't mean you're flawed, right?
Absolutely not. It's profoundly human. It's often about carrying the past into the present without realizing it, trying to protect ourselves from hurt, using old strategies that maybe aren't needed anymore.
Like an old computer program still running.
That's a great analogy. Running in the background, influencing things without our conscious... Okay.
But you said awareness is the first step. Just noticing this stuff.
Yes, awareness is key, because once you start to see the pattern, really see it without judgment, it creates a little bit of space.
Space for what?
Space to choose differently. It's like turning on a light, you see what's actually in the room. It might be uncomfortable at first, seeing the mess, but you can't navigate effectively in the dark. Seeing it is the first step towards deciding if you want to rearrange things. It's empowering.
So let's go back to Maria, the one who cleaned, instead working on her business plan.
Right. So as Maria started to notice that pattern, the urge to clean rising up right when she needed to focus, she began to experiment. Just by pausing, instead of instantly jumping up to clean, she'd try to just sit with the feeling for a moment. Notice the anxiety in her body.
That sounds hard.
It was initially. But just by noticing it, by allowing it to be there, without immediately acting on the urge to escape it, gradually, that urge lost some of its intensity.
Really?
It didn't vanish overnight, but the grip loosened. And she found slowly that she could stay focused on her work for longer periods.
So it wasn't about fighting the urge, but just being present with it.
Exactly. Presence, awareness, meeting yourself where you are without judgment, without demanding instant change. That's where the potential for transformation lies.
Wow.
So the invitation for everyone listening is just to start cultivating that awareness. Gently notice, how might you be holding yourself back? What stories are you telling yourself?
And be patient with it. It's gradual.
Very gradual. Small shifts, conscious moments. That's how change tends to happen.
Okay. So we've looked at this saboteur and the power of awareness. Let's go a bit deeper now into the Gestalt view of how these patterns work.
And again, maybe just take a breath, settle in, feel your feet, notice your body. Grounding yourself can be helpful as we explore this.
Right.
Because we're going to look at how our natural way of experiencing things can get interrupted. Gestalt talks about a cycle of experience.
The cycle, what does that involve?
Think of it as a natural flow. It starts with awareness. You become aware of a need, a desire, maybe just a sensation.
Like feeling hungry.
Perfect example. Awareness of hunger arises. Then, naturally, energy mobilizes. You start thinking about food, maybe feel motivated to get up.
Then action, you go make a sandwich.
Right, action. Followed by contact and completion, you eat the sandwich. And finally, satisfaction and withdrawal. The hunger is gone, you feel satisfied, you move on to the next thing.
Okay, that makes sense. A natural rhythm.
So self-sabotage often happens when that cycle gets blocked or interrupted somewhere along the way.
How so?
Maybe the awareness doesn't fully form, or the energy mobilizes, but then it gets stuck or diverted before you can take effective action. The cycle doesn't complete.
And that leaves you feel...
Stuck, frustrated, unfulfilled, that feeling of incompletion.
Can you think back to a time you felt really stuck on something important? Try to recall. Were there physical sensations tied to that stuckness? Like maybe a tightness, a heaviness?
Yeah, often there are. A knot in the stomach, maybe feeling frozen, tension in the shoulders. Those physical feelings are often signals, clues that the natural flow is blocked.
Let's use another example. Maybe someone we call Alex.
Okay, Alex. Let's say Alex has this real passion for photography, wants to leave his day job, pursue it seriously.
Sounds exciting.
It does. But every time he thinks about taking a real step, like updating his portfolio, contacting potential clients, he just freezes. Total paralysis.
Even if he has the skills.
Even then, it's not about skill or opportunity. It feels internal.
So applying that cycle idea, where's the block for Alex?
Well, as Alex explored it, a pattern emerged. When he considered taking a risk with his photography, this wave of anxiety would hit him, often felt physically in his stomach. And it came with this really harsh inner critic voice. Who do you think you are? You're gonna fail. That kind of thing.
Ouch.
Yeah. And digging deeper, those voices, that anxiety, they weren't random. They were echoes from his family. They always valued security, practicality. Creative stuff was seen as foolish, risky.
Ah, so he learned early on to suppress that part of himself.
Exactly, to fit in, to get approval. And that old pattern of suppression was still running the show, creating this paralysis whenever he tried to move towards his passion now.
So that's the unfinished business again. Those old messages, those suppressed desires.
Precisely. Those unresolved bits from the past, unmet needs, feelings, never expressed, they don't just disappear. They shape how we react now.
Makes you wonder, what unresolved stuff might I be carrying? Old relationships without closure? Parts of myself I learned to hide.
Those are really valuable reflections, because those hidden aspects often fuel the avoidance, the sabotage.
And Gestalt also talks about defense mechanisms, right?
Yeah.
But not, like, in a bad way.
Right. Not as flaws, but more like clever strategies we developed, usually unconsciously, to protect ourselves from feeling pain or discomfort.
Like what kind of strategies?
Well, things like intellectualization, getting lost in thought, analyzing everything, to avoid actually feeling the emotions involved.
Guilty.
Many of us are. Or projections, seeing our own unwanted feelings or traits in other people instead of owning them ourselves.
Oh, that's tricky.
It can be. Or retroflection.
Retro what?
Retroflection. It basically means turning energy back onto yourself. So instead of expressing anger or setting a boundary outwards, you might turn that energy inward and criticize yourself or tense up your body.
So like getting mad at yourself instead of the person you're actually frustrated with.
Exactly. Or holding tension in your jaw instead of speaking up. Let's imagine someone, Lisa. She always procrastinated on big projects.
Okay.
As she looked closer, she realized it wasn't just laziness. It was often linked to frustration with, say, her boss or a collaborator. But instead of addressing that directly, setting a boundary.
You turned it inwards.
Yes. The energy turned into self-criticism, feeling overwhelmed, and delaying the project. The procrastination was a form of retroflection containing unexpressed feelings, protecting herself indirectly.
Wow. Okay. It makes you look at your own habits differently.
Yeah.
Do I rationalize instead of feel?
Yeah.
Do I point the finger when maybe it's my own stuff? Do I turn energy inward?
Just noticing those tendencies is huge. It's not about judgment, just observation. Ah, look, there I go, rationalizing again.
And there's another Gestalt idea. Figure ground. How does that fit in?
Think about your visual field. Right now, something is in focus, the figure, and everything else is the background, the ground. Our attention works like that too.
Okay.
When we're stuck in self-sabotage, what often becomes the main figure in our awareness?
Our doubts, our fears, what could go wrong?
Exactly. Our limitations, our anxieties, they take center stage. And what fades into the background? The ground.
Our strengths, our resources,
Yeah.
past successes, possibilities.
Precisely. They're still there, but they're out of focus.
So can we consciously shift that focus? Bring the resources into the foreground?
We can try. But it usually requires conscious effort. It requires presence. And one powerful way Gestalt works with this is by encouraging us to stay with the feeling.
Which sounds uncomfortable, staying with anxiety or fear.
It can feel counterintuitive, absolutely. Our instinct is usually to push away unpleasant feelings, distract ourselves, analyze them away.
Right, make them stop.
But the paradox is, when we actually allow ourselves to fully experience a feeling without judgment, without trying to fix it, just letting it be there, its intensity often starts to shift. It loosens its grip.
Really? How does that work?
It's hard to explain logically, but experientially, when you stop fighting the feeling, you stop feeding it energy, you allow it to move through its natural course. And often insight arises from that space.
You mentioned Sarah before with social anxiety.
Yes, Sarah. Her anxiety kept her isolated. So instead of just talking about the anxiety, we explored the physical sensations of it.
Like the tight chest, racing heart.
Exactly. She described them. Where were they? What was their texture, temperature, movement? We just stayed with the raw sensation without labeling it bad or trying to make it vanish.
And what happened?
Gradually, the sensations felt less threatening, less like an enemy. She started to sense that maybe the anxiety wasn't just noise, maybe it was a messenger. Perhaps connected to a deep, unmet longing for connection that the fear was masking.
That's a huge shift, relating to the feeling differently.
A massive shift.
Yeah.
And it connects to another key idea, responsibility.
Okay, responsibility often feels heavy, like blame.
But in Gestalt, it's meant differently. It's literally responsibility, the ability to respond. When we're in automatic, self-sabotaging patterns, we're just reacting based on old conditioning. Taking responsibility means becoming aware of those automatic reactions and starting to consciously choose our response in the present moment.
So it's like coming to that fork in the road again, the old familiar path of reacting.
The path of sabotage.
Versus a new path of consciously choosing a different response, even if it feels unfamiliar or risky.
Exactly. And neither path is wrong, they just lead to different places. The key is bringing awareness to the choice point.
Okay. And one more concept, contact.
Yes. Contact in Gestalt is essentially about being fully present and authentic in our meeting with ourselves, with others, with our environment, really showing up.
And self-sabotage is like breaking contact.
Often, yes. It involves pulling away from our true feelings, our real desires, the reality of the situation. We put up barriers.
So maybe think about times you felt really in contact, alive, engaged, what helped that. And when you feel disconnected, stuck in those loops, what seems to get in the way? What breaks that contact for you?
Again, these are questions for ongoing exploration. The answers aren't always simple or immediate. They emerge as we pay attention.
Like with Maria and her cleaning. Realizing it was also about control because of her past.
Right. That understanding didn't magically fix everything, but it changed her relationship with the urge to clean. It gave her more options, more agency. She wasn't just automatically driven by it anymore.
So this whole approach isn't really about eliminating the sabotage, but understanding it, relating to it differently.
That's a great way to put it. Illuminating the patterns, understanding their roots, their function. It's less about fixing a broken part and more about reintegrating parts of ourselves we might have disowned or tried to suppress, rediscovering who we are underneath the protective layers.
Okay, so checking in again. What patterns are starting to stand out for you listening to this? What defenses maybe feel familiar?
And notice how it feels to just approach yourself with curiosity about this stuff instead of the usual judgment.
Yeah, because it sounds like the real work is about presence and trusting there's something valuable even in the patterns we don't like.
Exactly. Trusting the wisdom within the pattern itself.
All right. So we've explored the what and the why of self-sabotage through this Gestalt lens. Now, the big question, how do we start to shift things? How do we move towards more self-compassion, more alignment?
And again, let's just take a moment, settle in, maybe notice your breath again, the simple act of grounding.
Because the change starts small, right? In how we pay attention.
Absolutely. Understanding the patterns is huge. It's like opening the door. But then we have to choose to walk through it.
And maybe the most important question is, what would it actually feel like to meet yourself in all of this without judgment?
That's such a powerful inquiry. Because truly, one of the biggest shifts comes when we realize self-sabotage isn't the enemy.
Right. You said it's a part of us.
A part that's trying to communicate something, an unmet need, old pain, a deep fear. If we just yell at it or try to shut it up,
we miss the message.
Exactly. We shut down the very information we need.
Like Maria again. She didn't just notice the cleaning urge. She started asking.
What am I really trying to clean away here?
Yeah. And experimenting. Maybe writing down feelings instead of grabbing the sponge.
Small experiments, gentle shifts. Not expecting an overnight miracle, but gradually changing the relationship with that pattern.
And Alex, the photographer, what happened with him?
Well, recognizing the fear of success alongside the fear of failure was big. That brought up some grief, actually. Grief for the time lost.
Ouch, sounds painful.
It can be. But sometimes grief clears the path. It allows something new to emerge. He started really small.
Like how small?
Like just taking photos of objects around his house, not for anyone else, just exploring, playing with light, reigniting curiosity without pressure.
Okay.
Then eventually, tentatively sharing a few photos online. And the positive feedback he got, even minor comments.
They were like footholds.
Exactly. Little
Wow.
bits of evidence challenging the old narrative, reminders of his capability, his passion.
So for people listening, what could be a tiny foothold for them? A really small, manageable first step?
It could be anything, really. Setting a timer for just 5 minutes on that task you're avoiding. Journaling for a few minutes about the feelings that come up around a goal.
Or just noticing that inner critic and saying, there's that voice again, without automatically buying into it.
Think of them as experiments, gathering data about yourself without the pressure of succeeding or failing immediately.
And that idea of responsibility,
Wow.
taking ownership. It's not about blaming yourself for the past.
Not at all. It's about reclaiming your power now, stepping out of autopilot, realizing you can choose your response even if the old pattern feels strong. It's empowering.
But choosing differently takes courage, doesn't it? It means facing discomfort.
It absolutely does. It means tolerating uncertainty, maybe risking failure, embracing the unknown path instead of the familiar, even if painful, one.
Like Sarah with her social anxiety. That moment she decided to welcome the feeling at that event instead of fighting it.
That was her turning point. The anxiety didn't vanish instantly, but her relationship to it changed. It became less of an enemy, more like a companion carrying information.
So seeing the sabotage not as a flaw, but maybe as a teacher.
A guide. That's a beautiful way to frame it. What is this pattern trying to teach me about my needs, my fears, my history? The goal isn't eradication, it's transformation of the relationship. Moving from unconscious reaction to conscious choice.
And that paradox you mentioned.
The paradox that self-acceptance actually creates the space for change. That acknowledging our limitations often reveals hidden strengths. That embracing our complexity connects us to our deeper selves.
It's kind of the opposite of how we usually think about change.
It often is. We think we need to fix ourselves before we can accept ourselves, but Gestalt suggests acceptance comes first, and growth flows from that.
So moving forward, the practice is really about carrying this awareness.
Yes, carry it gently. When you notice the old pattern starting up the urge to procrastinate, the critical thought, the impulse to withdraw, just pause.
Breathe.
Breathe, and maybe ask, with kindness, what am I protecting myself from? What do I really need right now? Let the questions guide you, not necessarily to instant answers, but to deeper understanding, more presence, more freedom.
Because fundamentally, we're okay as we are.
You are already whole, complete, enough. Right now, the journey isn't about becoming someone else, it's about remembering, reconnecting with the wholeness that's already there, beneath the layers.
Trusting that inner spark.
Trusting it, nurturing it. And knowing this is ongoing, every moment offers a new opportunity for awareness, for choice, for growth.
So the final thought to leave people with
Is maybe this. As you go into the rest of your day, knowing what you know now, understanding your patterns a little more deeply, what small conscious choice will you make?
something to ponder.
Just let that question sit with you for a few moments.
And with that thought, we'll wrap up this deep dive. We really hope this has given you some valuable food for thought, maybe a starting point for your own exploration. Thanks for joining us.